it's pronounced Haruka. And her mom actually, I don't know if you guys, her mom gave us the Japanese character for it, and it means open-minded.
A funny story about Haruka and her name is she always got so annoyed when people pronounced it wrong. So whenever we'd go to Starbucks or anywhere where you had to say your name, she said her name was Monica. And everybody was always so confused when they didn't know she would do that. So you'd be standing in line for coffee with her and she'd be like, oh, it's Monica. What are you doing?
What? Yeah. Like she introduced herself to one of our friends one time. She was like, I'm Hanukkah. And he was like, what? Isn't that in December? Like Hanukkah. So she'll, yeah.
And we always, whenever we had subs in school, and even some of our teachers never pronounced it right, and she would never stand up or like make a scene. She always just shook her head and was like, here.
Does someone want to answer the very first time you met her, the very first impression she made on you?
I remember it was 6th grade because we went to school together for 6 years, and we were sitting in our English class, and I just looked over. We were all writing, and everyone was like sitting there. It was one of the first days of school, just like kind of hunched over, and Haruka was sitting sideways in her chair with her notebook in her lap instead, and just like looking up and thinking. And I remember she just had something about her where, you know, you wanted to get to know her. She stood out. She wasn't just sitting there hunched over scribbling furiously like everyone else. She was turned sideways with it there in her lap thinking.
Go ahead.
When I first came to ACMA, like she was like the first person I met, and I had like no idea for like a month that she was even like as talented as she was, because she didn't even say anything like about it at all. Like we've all agreed that she's like the most humble person we know, and like at our first dance together, she was like, oh, I'm like so bad at dancing, and I was like, aren't you like a dance, like isn't that your thing? And she was like, no, I'm awful. And I was like, we were dancing, and I was like, are you kidding me? And I was like, okay, whatever. And then like I finally saw her perform like 2 months later, and I was like just blown away. She like no one would even like, she would never talk about herself, and it's just
I shadowed her at ACMA. She was like my guide on my first like day, and I was super shy. She was a little bit shy, and I wasn't sure like if this was the right fit, if I wanted to go to the school, but she was the one that made me decide that I wanted to go here. And when I saw her dance, like she has been my like inspiration and one of my role models ever since.
You said she was your guide?
Yeah, shadow guide.
The shadow guide.
I remember in 7th grade when I first met her, 'cause that's when I came to ACMA, she was so good at French braiding hair, and I would watch her French braid other people's hair, and I'd always say, oh, who did your hair? They'd be like, oh, it was Haruka. And so I remember the first time I actually talked to her, I was in math class, and I really, really wanted her to French braid my hair, so I was like, do you think you could, I want to do something new with my hair. What would you recommend? And she was like, well, you could just put it in a ponytail. Yeah, she never did French braid my hair.
The first time I met her was at a summer master's dance program at the Portland Ballet. And sometimes when you take ballet class all the time, it's easy to just get in a rhythm and kind of tune everything out. And every time I watched her take class, it was like she was doing everything for the first time. And I remember being so just fascinated by watching her, even doing the exercises that we did every day. Everything was like it was new, and she was thinking so hard and loved to do it.
What did you guys see her doing in the future? What did she want to do with her degree or her dance? Did you see her carrying that out later in life?
You guys can answer that.
So obviously dance was like a really big passion of hers, but recently she kind of got into the medical field, and honestly the last time I talked to her actually she was talking about how excited she was interning at this hospital during the summer and talking about scrubbing in on surgeries potentially, and they're just like a light at this like possibility of this new future. And I don't know if she would have chosen that or dance or try to pursue both, but whatever she would have done amazingly.
Yeah.
She always was like, we said she was so humble, and she was such an amazing dancer, but she never thought she was, so she never thought she would make it in dance. And then she would like, she got the scholarship to UT, and like, so she went there, but like she never thought she was gonna make it in dance, but she could have.
Was she gonna intern here? Was that her plan? Like when you said the hospital?
Arizona, somewhere in Arizona.
Oh,
I'm
Arizona.
not exactly sure.
Did she say what kind of medical field she was interested in?
She has surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we just, like she said, she'd tell them that she was dancing pre-med, and they just kind of look at her like who does that, you know? Like Haruka did that. Yeah.
And we went to an art school, so we had like no science ever, and she was taking chemistry, and like I remember like when she was taking the placement test, she had no idea what she was doing, but she was still like doing so good in it and trying so hard.
And she's like, I want to do pre-med.
Yep. Yeah.
We see so many pictures of her dancing that we've seen. Talk a little bit about that, and just maybe sort of the joy that dance brought to her, and because it seems to me it was such a huge part of her life. And how many of you were dancers with her?
Us too.
You guys should talk
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
hard to put into words. Like you can see it on her face when she's dancing, like how she felt about it. But I don't know if it can totally be like justified by words, like how she felt about it. But I know it definitely made her incredibly happy, and even like if she was having a rough day, dancing would kind of bring her out of that dark time.
And she loved to perform. It just brought her so much joy and made her fall in love with it all over again every time she performed.
She would talk about like, oh, this is so hard, classes, but as soon as she got on stage, she'd forget all about it, and it was her passion.
She was
for sure.
inspiring.
And she was always dancing.
Yeah.
Like even just like in the kitchen, she was always dancing.
In the
And
car.
it always looked good too.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments was she's kind of been known for like ballet and like the grace and beauty of ballet, but we got into a hip hop class and she got down as a student.
She's a spitfire.
Yeah, totally. It was cool to see both sides of that, like both sides of her in that way.
She also she loved performing dance, but in her daily life she didn't seek out the spotlight. She wasn't not hungry for attention, you know. It was just she genuinely enjoyed performing.
Yeah, she would tell us don't come watch me, I don't have a big part. She was the star.
But even if she didn't have a big part, your eye was still drawn to her.
She was still the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about her as a friend? Obviously, she was really she had a lot of friends. Can you talk a little bit about what she was like?
She was one of those rare friendships that I feel like a lot of people don't get to have in their lifetime, and she was such an amazing person, and I'm lucky enough to have spent the amount of time with her.
It might seem like she had a ton of friends because she was involved in so many different little communities in her life, but she wasn't a person to be fake and go out and try to be friends with everyone, and she was really content with what she had, and she treated the one she had just so well, so genuinely, and she was just very genuine, the least fake person you could ever meet.
Yeah, she was so loyal.
Yeah.
Very loyal.
Could always trust her for everything.
Over this past summer, 4 of us went on a trip to LA, and she wasn't able to go because she had a dance thing that she had to go to. But the morning that we had an early morning flight, and she woke up at 6 a.m. with us. She packed us each lunches for the plane ride, and she drove us to the airport that morning. that's just the kind of, she just took care of us.
She took care of you.
And we like didn't ask her for any of that.
Yeah, she's like, she really just like takes care of us. Like, we had this like little like joke. We were like comparing our friendship to like a shirt. And we were like, one of us is the pattern, one of us is like the color, and we were like, no doubt Haruka's the string that holds us all together. She just really took care of us very well, and everyone in her life.
What made her want to go to Texas, and what did you guys all think of her, like, what a different place, right, from the Portland area down there? What was that process like for her?
I mean, she always like, she was so like adventurous and always was doing new things and traveling, and like I think all of us had no doubt that she was gonna be so successful in Texas, and she was really nervous about it, of course, and like within like a week of getting there, she was already like going downtown and like exploring the bookstores and the thrift stores, and like just had so many friends, and she was, she always was successful in whatever she did, and so we knew she was gonna be successful in Austin.
She fully invested herself in everything she did, whether it was baking or cooking or taking someone to the airport or being there for her younger siblings. She was just a phenomenal human being in how present she was in everything that she did.
I spent 3 weeks with her in Austin this past summer for the summer ballet intensive, and we were always exploring the city. She was always wanting to, we figured out like ways to go find like natural springs, and there was planned activities with the dorm, but we were like, no, we can do this ourselves. Let's go explore. Let's not like go with like the rest of the group. So she was always like, had such an adventurous spirit, and I'm lucky that I got to explore that city with her.
What did you do?
We went to Barton Springs, we went paddleboarding, thrift shopping. She always wanted a fur coat, and we found one in a thrift shop near our dorms. I don't know, just riding the bus, like we just would randomly get out and explore what was on that street. It was a really fun time.
Yeah. Those fur coats came into play the last night before us and another of our friends, we all got dressed up super formally, and she wanted us all to wear fur coats, even though it was, how hot was
like
it?
80 degrees out.
It was 80 degrees out, and we showed up, and everyone else was in casual attire, like jeans and things, and we showed up in the equivalent of prom dresses and fur coats.
But we got lots of compliments.
We got and people were like, why don't
they?
we dress like that? And it was so great, and we took all these pictures, and
everywhere she went, she was always the best dressed. Always. And she would wear like stuff that no one else could pull off, and she looked so good in it.
Yeah.
Did you guys all see each other during Christmas break, or did anybody see her more recently, or I don't know where you guys are all at.
Christmas break.
And were you guys all together? I don't know if you're.
Not all of us, but I mean, we all were with her.
We were all at some point.
If you guys each had to put an adjective on the kind of person she was, what would you each say?
Authentic.
I was just gonna say authentic.
Yeah.
Like, and that's in its entirety authentic.
And strong. She was so strong.
So strong.
Unique, like really unique, like in every way, like.
Dynamic.
What would you hope that her legacy would be? Like, how would you want her to be remembered more than anything?
I think we were talking about this last night. I think like for her passion, because she was so passionate about everything she did, but also like we said, humble. She never bragged about it or talked about it, and I think she always strove to be the best, but she would do so by like working for it, not by talking about it or
Working hard,
showing it. She worked so hard at everything.
Yeah, we were like also just, you know, in dealing with it, just talking about, you know, a year from now, if we had known what would happen, what we would have done differently. And then it kind of came around to what would Haruka have done differently. And we were thinking about it, and we realized there wasn't much. She lived the way that she wanted, and she did the things that she wanted to, and she pursued what she wanted to. And I feel like that's how we should all try to live.
She didn't follow like social norms. She like didn't care at all what people thought about her. She like just did herself, and I think that's something that we can all really do and learn from her.
Can you talk about that in terms of, going her own way? What did she do that stands out to you in that regard?
She just really didn't care at all what people thought or like.
Even with like her clothes, she would take us to like
her
Goodwill
clothes.
bins all the time, and like we would go in and it like smells horrible in there, and like we would find like ripped up underwear, and she would find like whole designer outfits, and like.
Do you say like she took you, was she kind of like a leader with you guys?
Yeah.
Like she kind of set the pace with
I think
She always had a lot of really good ideas. We would come up with, we'd be like, I guess we could maybe go to Baskin Robbins or something. And she'd just be like, let's go to this festival I found online. Or like, I found this free concert and we should go check it out. And she always had the best ideas.
What did family mean to her?
It was really important to her.
Yeah.
She was always there for dinners and she was always cooking for her family. I didn't really live here with her, but I know she cooked a lot for the community too.
I mean, she was always supportive of her family, I think, and especially her sister. They were like very close, and she just was always like, she didn't so much like, she didn't talk about it, but you could tell with just her, like they were best friends, and like her family meant so much to her.
Also, it's National Sibling Day, and just want to let Naomi and Novo know that we're your sisters as well. We love you.
It's her little sister you're talking about?
And her brother.
And her brother.
Sister, yeah.
She had a quote that she had posted about her struggles with dance and wanting to quit at times. And then she just said that it's a cycle and it's a rush when I do it and I can't stop and I love it and I fall in love with it all over again. What was that? Did she struggle? She wanted to quit dance altogether, or was that something you all kind of go through with?
Yeah,
It's
I feel
hard.
it too. Sometimes it's hard, the hours, it puts a lot of strain on your body. But like I said before, you get to the performances and it's worth it.
Yeah.
And she would never quit anything she did.
She was
kept going.
She would
Yeah.
never quit.
It was,
Yeah.
and like a perfectionist.
Yeah. And I think she would just she'd get
frustrated.
she'd get frustrated with herself because she really wanted to like do it for her, and be the best for her.
Yeah, you're constantly striving to improve, which is how she was in everything she did. I feel like she was constantly trying to push herself and just continually do that. And it was the same in dance, and sometimes it just gets really hard. But like she loved performing, so it just made her light shine.
Does anybody know how she first got into dance? Like how old she was, what her background was?
I think she was pretty young. I don't know exactly, but I think it was just like a small dance studio. I don't know exactly where. It might have been in Arizona. And I know she was pretty young.
Yeah.
What'd she tell you about her, dorm life in Texas? Did she have was she making friends?
Yeah, everyone loved
Social
her.
life? What'd she tell you about that?
I think her first week she was already like going out to like coffee shops and like already had all these like friends that she was doing things with, and I think people are really drawn to her, and a lot of people like really wanted to be close with her. That
She was busy too. Like
very
she
busy,
she was here also, and so it's not really surprising that it was the same way in Texas. Like she was rushing a sorority, had really good grades, had time to have all these friends and go out to other places and do things.
Not too homesick.
Yeah.
she was also working too. She did a
That's
job.
right.
Yeah.
What'd she do?
She worked at a restaurant.
It was just for a really short time.
Yeah,
But she was a waitress.
Did the boys just love her in high school?
Yes.
Yes, everyone was in love with her.
Yeah.
You talked about, you at least hinted at like a real adventurous streak that she had in terms of, I don't want to go to Baskin Robbins, I'm going to go to this festival, and having the courage, I guess, to go across the country and try this new thing. Was that adventurous streak, was that always there, or did it kind of blossom over time? How did you see her kind of get her own footing and do her own thing on her terms?
In the time that we
spent with her. Yeah, she's always had that.
I think she's always been like that.
One time we were gonna go to like Silver Falls, the waterfall, and we're like, no, let's go to this other one that we'd heard about. But the thing is, it's not marked, and no one really knows where it is, and you have to follow these like specific directions to get there, and it's supposed to be like really hard to find. And some friends had gone and couldn't find it, but we're like, yeah, let's try that. And we went down so many dirt roads. We ended up walking like maybe 8 miles, but we found the waterfall, and it was beautiful and it was amazing, and it's just could serve as a metaphor of just her.
I think something so beautiful about Haruka is that, you know, no matter where she was, no matter what adventure she was on, or how new and scary it would be to anybody else, she made a home wherever she was.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think with like being in Austin and coming home, and she probably was a little homesick, but she could make herself happy wherever she was. And when she was in Austin, she loved it, and she missed us, but she never talked about wanting to come home. And then when she was home, she was so happy to be home and be with us. And I think she just found a way to be happy wherever she was.
Did you ever do the most likely to in high school?
Mm-hmm.
Was she? Do you remember what she was voted most
She got
likely
best
to?
shoes.
But the funny thing is, she didn't wear any shoes to that photo, right?
Yeah,
she was
barefoot in the photo, to be ironic. Yeah. And also, like, one time, it wasn't senior superlatives or anything, but we all went to an arts-focused high school, and at the arts-focused high school, in our grade, Haruka got most artistic. So
He has middle school awards.
yeah, just like,
most artistic.
yeah.
And she also was so talented at visual arts. She was really into ceramics and drawing and painting. She won an award in middle school for she made there was like a book. She made a book or she used a book and then like made a paper tree grow out of it, and she won an award for that.
Yeah, we did like a ceramics intensive. This was like in 8th grade or freshman year. Her and Lily and I, and throwing on the wheel. We all had never done it before, and we were like, oh, why not try it out? And it takes people about, like the first part of throwing is you have to get it centered, and it takes most people a couple weeks to do that. And the first day, like me and Lily were there with like our misshapen lumps of clay, and I looked over, and there was a vase on Haruka's wheel. Everyone, like our teacher was like, never seen that before,
She probably threw it away. Too.
Yeah, she did. Like I was like, you're keeping it, right? She was like, no, like no.
I remember there was like this tiny art gallery at ACMA, and she like perfectly replicated like a Van Gogh painting, but like this big.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I couldn't understand.
Can you talk about her bedroom in high school? What did she have on the walls? What did it look like?
She had a lot of pictures. She really liked having pictures and memories.
Mm-hmm. Polaroids. We would all fight over what Polaroids to keep. And
she had a lot of art on her walls too.
Yeah.
Of what?
She had dancers and
she had posters of every show she's done.
She had a painting of flowers.
And she got a Beyonce calendar that she loved. We went through every month, and sometimes she'd put them up out of order because she just really liked one of them.
She loved nature too. She had a lot of nature pictures. She was
she
was so cute.
What were her favorite Portland spots to go to, or around the area?
Anywhere, I would say in the gorge, and then also we had a tradition of going to the Goodwill bins and then tea chai tea. We loved bubble tea.
She loved bubble tea.
She loved bubble
tea.
Yeah.
We'd always pick out a pair of fun socks.
Yeah.
Get bubble tea.
Yeah, we all have matching socks.
We have matching socks.
We did on her birthday, we did Angel's Rest hike for the sunrise, and she loved to do that.
Again,
sunrise hikes.
Yeah, she got us all to wake up on her birthday. We were like, let's
couldn't
sleep
have
in,
woken
let's
up
do
too.
an afternoon hike. And
Yeah.
she was like, but imagine like when the sun comes up. And we were
She was all peppy,
okay.
and we were like so tired, and and she drove us all there and made us get up the hill, and it was so beautiful. No.
We didn't.
Yeah, we would another spot we'd always go to is Pinnock Mansion. We would have picnics. She'd always like the food. Like whenever we're like, oh, let's go out, she's like, no, let's go, like let's have a picnic, you know.
Yeah, she never let us go out to eat. She always cooked for us.
What would you get?
She was an amazing baker.
Yeah.
She made like every holiday or birthday.
Yeah, she used to make
had a
us
Haruka cake or pie.
Yeah.
She used to wake us up with cinnamon rolls.
Yeah. She made like homemade donuts and cream puffs, and like she had this cake she made that was like chocolate, like triple chocolate espresso with like raspberries. And they always were beautiful.
There is this tradition we started. So the dance company connected to ACMA performs with Organ Symphony a couple times a year, and the night before that show we'd always make cake pops together and do it the theme of that show. So one time it was like pirates and maidens, so we made like little pirate cake pops, and I try to keep that tradition alive this year once she graduated, and it's so hard to do without
her. Yeah.
What will life be like without her?
I mean, like we said, like she definitely like held us together, and like one time we tried to make bubble tea by ourselves, and she was at rehearsal, and it got like so sticky, and like the bubbles were like hard, so we could not figure it out, and she just came in late from rehearsal and like shook her head and like did it for us and made it perfect. So I think it's definitely going to be less put together.
It's hard. I don't know if I can fully express like how much we're gonna miss her.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as colorful.
What would you tell her if you could say something to her?
I think just like how much she meant to all of us.
How much we love her.
You feel like
And always.
you can
Yeah.
never like tell her enough. You know, you just feel like there's some things that you can't express in words, and I feel like we all feel it, and she felt it, and she feels it.
And also like I think how like amazing she was and is. Like we all just like look up to her so much and think she's so amazing. She like inspired us a lot.
So inspiring.
And like will continue to inspire us forever.
Yeah.
Well, something like this, it's so hard because it's so out of the blue. So you don't, you all saw her last over Christmas, and I'm sure maybe texted or talked since then. But what's it like to sort of have this happen so suddenly?
I think we're all just like in a little bit of shock. It's not something you can like prepare yourself for, and
It's not something you expect.
it's not something, especially the way it happened. It's been really hard for us because it's not even just sadness, like it's just so much anger and stuff. But it just helps. We have a really, really good community to grieve together.
Yeah, and everyone's been so amazing, and just like so much
Really
love
nice.
and support has come out of it. It's been really amazing. Like with our high school, like everyone has been so kind and supportive.
Yeah, I was sitting like in the grass behind one of the portables, and this really shy boy that like I don't know if him and Hanukkah ever talked, but he came up to me and was like, I made a song for her, and he played it for us. It was hard, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, I think like even people she didn't know, were inspired by her. And people that never talked to her, just like seeing her dance and seeing her just walk through the halls, she had like a confidence, and that was inspiring.
People knew who she was too. Like she had a presence. She was respected. Just for
There's any other stories you girls want to share, or stuff we didn't ask you that you feel like you want to be put out there?
Well, we have her senior quote, and we thought
Might be
that
useful.
here I wrote it down, but oh sorry.
And then you could read that to us.
Yeah, it was.
Do you mind scooting the microphone up just a little closer to you, maybe?
Her senior quote was, "How lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard," from Winnie the Pooh. she was just the most beautiful person. She was going to do so many incredible things. We'd always talk about like who was going to, you know, be the most successful, and we'd always say that we would have, that we would be, all of us would do something and end up like in need, and we would all call her up, and she'd have to host us all in her basement because she'd probably have this beautiful house on the beach somewhere.
Yeah. There's so much art in it.
And like super happy kids, and like a husband that was adored her. We had never had any doubt that she was going to be so successful and happy.
Any more questions?
I guess this one's a little back to, because we talked so much about the art, but it sounds like she was getting excited about pre-med too.
Mm-hmm.
Does she have family members who are doctors, or how did she get into that?
Her dad's a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And did that sort of push her in that direction, or do you know where that came from?
I think so. I think she really respected her dad a lot, and I don't think he ever pushed her, but just like
She was just a high achiever. Being a doctor is
She's
one
so
of the hardest
smart.
things.
A need for helping people.
Exactly.
Yeah. She nurtured so many people,
Yeah.
whether she knew it or not. Just
Yeah.
the way that she interacted with people was so loving and compassionate.
Yeah, and
and
I
she
think
was so
like
smart.
even like thinking about like her in surgery, like helping people quietly, you know, she never would ask for any recognition, and she wouldn't want it. She wouldn't want the spotlight, but she like helping people quietly, just working, you know, in surgery. It's like totally her.
Did she have a celebrity role model or a political figure or anybody that she looked up to as an idol?
Did you guys go to concerts with her to see Beyonce? Or?
We never didn't
make it.
Watched a lot of music videos.
I did watch a lot of music videos.
So it was like pop hip hop her favorite kind of music, or what was like the one song?
She had so many.
Yeah, she was very eclectic.
She liked alternative and like.
we've gone to
like
a concert with her before, and it's a lot of fun.
She listened to like classical music too, and like
everything.
Rap and
Just
like
everything.
everything.
She'd be like the world's most interesting woman.
Yeah.
And she's funny also.
She's so funny.
So funny.
Like just like her laugh, like I just like I can't stop hearing
The
it.
little
Like
faces that she made.
Yeah.
All of her
she made
little,
the best
poses
faces,
and things.
like the best.
Yeah, she had this face
So
she would
great.
make nobody else could do, but I can't do
It was
it.
like
She did this
she looked like
thing.
she made it like it was like a rat face.
Yeah, she had whiskers.
Everyone knew it, and like
Everybody
no
would
one-
try to do it.
Everyone copied
Everyone-
it.
yeah,
No one
we
really
tried
knew
for
how to
so
do
long.
it.
She can make anyone laugh.
Yeah.
Was she close to her mom and dad? I mean, was she,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for
Very.
she's very family oriented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Duffy.
She was even close to like my sister and my mom, and I know my sister's having a hard time with it, but like it just shows how many people she's touched.
Yeah.
Like other families, not just her own.
Yeah, and all of our parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was. Yeah. I loved her so much. I do love her.
Yeah. Yeah, like something, because everybody feels helpless, you know, like there's not much to do. And we were just thinking of the best way to remember her and thinking back on things that we were going to do. And when we graduated, we were all talking about like, because the five of us were in the same senior class at the same school and just really close. And we were trying to think when we graduated, we all talked about like getting matching tattoos, you know, and just never really got around to it. And so the past week, the four of us got them just as a way to remember her, just be with us forever and remind her. And,
I was noticing
wanna
that.
get them?
yeah, and I think, thought of the idea of the Pentagon, like it has 5 sides. There's 5 of us.
And there always will be.
And we realized like also it's the shape of a house, like home and home base, and